Packers will have a first and goal. Receiver to the right, Jimmy Graham. Rodgers, quick toss in the flat left side. Got his man for the end zone and a touchdown.
First and Goal podcast on Spreaker.com. And we're now on all your favorite platforms: iHeartRadio, Spotify, CastBox, Google Podcasts, Tumblr, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can always follow us on Twitter at First and Goal Pod and our Facebook page, facebook.com/First and Goal Pod 33.
Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Every day I'm 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, Packer fans? It is another live episode of the Packers 365 post-game show. I am your host, Ryan Molstead, Packers 365, and we are here with Dave and with Jay as well from the First and Goal podcast. Say what's up, guys.
Woo-woo. What's going on?
What's up?
We are we're all excited because another big win for our Green Bay Packers, now 6-1 in the driver's seat, firmly in the NFC North. And, it started off slow, but once that offense got going, we saw a turn back the clock type of effort and numbers from Aaron Rodgers. This offense is starting to click. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to all of that. I want to start the show off and just say, you know what? I missed the last show, and it was kind of sad. I wanted to be a part of it. I was in San Diego on a work trip, and you guys held the fort down nicely. I had to try to watch that game while I was in literally a conference on my phone. I had to kind of sneak it to the side, so I was watching it. But I was definitely tied up and missing out on all the fun with you guys after the game. So, sorry about missing that stuff.
Oh, you're good, brother. Life is life.
Hey, I know.
Yeah,
I wasn't
Sasquatch
thinking...
hunting is hard in the Great White Redwood Forest. I know, Ryan. I know.
I thought it was Yetis this time. I thought you had said it was a Yeti.
They're all the same. They're related. Sasquatch, Yetis.
How dare you? They have feelings.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's glad I'm happy to be back and be a part of it again. But first things first. Obviously, what can you say? Aaron Rodgers is a bad man.
40 burger.
He definitely looks like the old Aaron Rodgers, starting to get comfortable in the offense. And, the biggest thing that caught my eye, and this is something that it's been happening now for a while, and quite frankly, his numbers could have been even better if some of his receivers would actually catch the dang ball. But he didn't have that big of a problem today because his completion percentage was pretty dang good, and he was hitting, running backs out of the backfield, tight ends. I mean, he hadn't even completed a pass to a wide receiver for a while. He was hitting all running backs and tight ends.
Yep.
And that is something that I have pounded my fist on the table for years. And it's something that the Patriots do very well. It's something that offenses like Sean Payton and the Saints have always done. And now the Packers are doing it, and they have the type of weapons to be able to do those types of things in this offense and LaFleur's offense. And I couldn't be more excited because if you can tell that LaFleur has gotten with Rodgers, and he's had to have gotten in his ear and said, you know what, it's all about winning. Obviously, Rodgers made that comment the other week that, he's done everything statistically. Now it's about winning. And how do you win football these days? By doing what they did today, by doing things like the Patriots have done for years, where whatever it takes, whatever's going to work against that particular team, that defense, that drive, you do what it takes. If it means you have to adjust your game plan then you do it. And LaFleur has shown that he's willing to do that. And I think Rodgers has now shown that he's willing to make those adjustments himself. He's not afraid to take those small checkdowns. He's not afraid to hit, the running backs in the tight ends. I'm so excited about this. And we don't even have Davante Adams out there. And we had
Darnell Savage.
Yeah, and we had wide receivers that are dinged up and not 100%, and they're young and they're still unproven. But I'm so excited about the possibility and potential of this team, and they're not hitting their stride, which is great. We don't want to hit too early. We don't want to peak early. So I think it's even better that they're just starting to get into it, and at the same time they're 6-1. So
they already matched their win total from last year in 7 weeks.
So that's my opening statement. What do you guys got?
I'm going to go ahead and start off with this. I need the Packer fans who say we need a wide receiver too to kind of hold off a little bit. We got another week to show that we don't need one. It's been 3 weeks now, 3 wins without Davante Adams in the offense, and we won. And now Rodgers spread the ball out, I believe, to 8 or 9 different people again. I believe that's for the third consecutive week. It's been 8+ people on the receiving end of the ball from Rodgers. So that means they're using everything available. And to what Ryan said earlier, so the receiving backs in Vitale, Jones, Williams all had 10 catches for it looks like a little over 100 yards total and 2 touchdowns receiving. That right there is a huge, huge weapon in itself. And I always said Aaron Jones on the Monty Football Show when we were on it, Ryan. I went ahead and said Aaron Jones is the wide receiver too. Well, I'm wrong. The receiving backs are a weapon wide receiver too. And all 3 of them, because Vitale, I couldn't believe he had 2 or 3 catches today, and they were big chunk catches. That was big.
Yeah.
Also, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and mention this about the defense. The defense, right up until like the last 19 seconds, it held the Oakland Raiders to 17 points that just put a good bunch of yards and points against a good Chicago Bears team. Guess what? Came up with an interception when it counted most, a 4th and goal stop on the goal line against Josh Jacobs, one of the best running backs in the league right now. This defense is for real. I've also got one more thing, Ryan.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham. The last 3 weeks, I don't know if you've noticed, there's been a different type of player on the field. I've seen him run block. I've seen him pass block, and not just like taps. They were efficient blocks. And then this game today, it felt like I watched Jimmy Graham from 2 or 3 years ago. Seattle and even New Orleans, where he was kind of dodging defenders and reaching out for the catch and actually going for the ball instead of the ball coming to him. It's like I was watching a whole different player these past 3 weeks, and it's really exciting to see. Maybe it was him holding off this year on buying in, why he didn't really hit with the offense this year compared to last year where they tried to get him right in. Maybe it's because now he sees LaFleur is going to use the tight ends really heavily.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that I think he believes more in this offense in terms of his role as a tight end. I think it's hard for a lot of players sometimes, especially ones that have had success in the past, to be in an offense that they're watching their game plan week in and week out and watching the games. They're like, they're not even going to use me. They're not even getting the ball to me, especially in a losing season that, which last year ended up being. I think he just kind of lost interest. And I mean, they get paid money to
McCarthy's system does that to tight ends.
But that's just the way it was. But I think now he's rejuvenated a little bit. I'm not saying he's the old Jimmy Graham. By
far not. Yes, of course. But I'm just, you know what I mean, though, it's an improved player from what we've seen in the first 4 weeks to the last 3 weeks.
For sure. I agree. He's been more conscious in terms of actually attempting to block. I feel like he's maybe heard, whether that's coaching or the whispers of the fan base, one or the other, maybe both.
He's on social media, so he's seeing it.
Yeah, he's definitely seeing it and hearing it, I'm sure. So that got to get to someone, People have pride. That catch, though, that he made for the touchdown, that was a really good catch. That wasn't the best thrown ball either. That was low.
No.
That's a hard catch. So.
And he reached out and grabbed it. That was what I was saying earlier, is he reached out and went for it instead of letting the ball come to him. And it's showing that he's changing maybe his style, because his old way wasn't working. He kept dropping touchdown passes. He was dropping the easy passes across the middle, and that right there, going down and then being able to come across and get that touchdown across the goal line. It's a different player than what we've seen recently. And he was 4 for 4 today. He was 100% on catch from Rodgers today, which is huge because he's never had.
I got a couple of things here. All right, 3 things. First of all, I have to
first.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, hey, turn the background, but there's some background noise on someone. I'm not quite sure who. Just turn it down a little bit.
That might be Jay. In his boiler room.
You guys are all set up with podcast mics. I'm on a cell phone.
Hey, man, we all started from somewhere.
I'm just walking around.
I just got this new mic last week.
I was looking into them, so I'll be set up soon. There we go. Way better.
All right, that was the game, Sunday night game on.
It's so quiet now.
Oh, shut up. All right, so right away, first three things, but I got to start off with saying this. Running back 1. I was wrong. It's Aaron Jones. I was right when I was on the show the other day that the game plan, but earlier I had said earlier in the season, before they changed into the inside zone scheme, that they needed running back 1. I was wrong. Dave stopped doing that in the camera. Okay? Aaron Jones is doing a great job. He's doing just fine. Stop doing that in the camera.
Never.
Number 2, they missed Darnell Savage. All the big plays were because Darnell Savage is not back there to play that role they drafted him to play, and that he's already proven he could do it. So stop freaking out about the defense. It'll get better. They're missing him big time. Think about the passing game before that. They are always going to live and die by the run game, but the big plays will stop when Savage returns into that free safety position, guys. So calm down. It will get better. Thirdly, there's Dave's beer. I will get one when I'm done here, so when you guys can talk a minute. Thirdly, the offense is missing Devontae Adams and is still just efficient and getting better, okay? And can I just say this? The 3 of us all said this was what was going to happen. All the other big pundits, all the other big coverage people, all the other people that were even guests on our show all had these guys with a slow start, having to dig themselves out of a hole and no chance of winning the division and maybe being able to make a wild card in the playoffs. And right now, as it stands, they pretty much control their own destiny from here on out. At this point in the season, when you're 6-1, if you don't shit the bed in a big way for the rest of the season, you pretty much control what's going to happen to you. Agreed or not? But I do need to go get a beer, guys.
Yeah, he just got jealous of mine, so he went and saw it.
Of course. Love it.
Well, Ryan, I do got to ask about this.
Yep.
So I know King, man, it wasn't just King, it was the whole defense. That Darren Waller, man, it's like he's a wide receiver inside the tight end body. He was finding all those soft spots in our defense. And Gruden, I think, had a heads up because he played the Packers in preseason. He got a heads up on that view of what Pettin might be running.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit, although, they hold a lot of that stuff back. But, I think what really happened is he saw what Philadelphia did, and I think they tried to copy a lot of that with the tight ends, with using 2 tight end sets quite often. They were rotating, they had a couple tight ends in there that were getting catches. So